Okay, would you support a nightly curfew if it meant that we're helping to stop the curb of the spread of COVID-19? According to a
Mm.
new poll, 65% of Canadians are okay with it, even if they're not convinced that it would be effective. So, Capri, what are your thoughts about a curfew?
Well, down here in the United States, some people are a little bit more okay with curfews than other parts, and it's all kind of about the region that you're from. Here in Ohio, where I'm from, we actually do have a curfew. Our governor did implement a curfew of 10 p.m. Nightly, but honestly, here's the problem with that in Ohio. We're closed by 9. We're shut down on Sundays.
Yeah.
Yes, we do have some big cities, but there's no Toronto, there's no Montreal, there's no Vancouver. It did, in certain circumstances, because we're a big football state. When the Cleveland Browns went to the playoffs, people could have been out at bars. Same thing with when Ohio State went to the National Football Championships for college. That was a big deal. But by and large, a curfew for a place like Ohio is not going to have an impact on the spread of COVID-19. It does, however, have an impact in a place like New York City or Los Angeles. So I really think, frankly, this should be more of a targeted regional approach than a blanket, because I would assume similar in places like, very far out in northern Ontario or northern Quebec, very different from Toronto or Montreal. So, I think it's about the
Yeah, but you know
effectiveness
what's
more than
interesting?
just the curfew.
Yeah, you were saying the targeted, but we tried that in Ontario, and then
Mm.
people just started driving to other areas that
Yeah,
weren't in lockdown. So it turned like we
it's
were just
true.
like little ants scurrying around trying to find what was
That
open.
makes sense.
So that's why I think the curfew was in discussion. Yeah. So here's the thing: in Quebec, we know that there is a curfew. It's the only province or territory in the country that has one. So 8 p.m. until 5 a.m. You can't be out. There's one loophole though: dog walking. So guess what
Ooh.
business has emerged? People are now selling rent a
Oh
dog
my God.
companies where you can actually get a dog,
What?
and that's the only way you can be out past 8 p.m. So figure out that loophole.
Why
Okay,
would
that's
Wait a minute.
weird.
So
Makes sense
does
in a
somebody
way.
does somebody then deliver the dog at 7:59? Like, I mean, how does that actually work in practice?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Well, think about it. If I have a dog, so I'm walking out my dog past 8 p.m. There's no problems there. If it's even before 8 p.m., I'm walking my dog. I could drop it off at your house. You're going to pay me $100 an hour, which is the going rate, and I get to go home. You can keep the dog maybe until the next morning, and then I'll come back and pick it up. So
What
the
kind
This
of
is
a
businesses are
dog owner?
exploding.
Like, honestly, as a dog owner, I'm so
Boo.
offended by that you would just
Yes.
pass your dog off to a stranger. That is
Yeah.
outrageous.
No one who
You're
cares about their
offended, as
dogs
am
would ever
I.
do that.
As
No
am
one.
I, but what if you need to get out? What if you
No,
live
but
in
this
an
is where
apartment
it
building?
makes no sense. I mean, of course you're going to be able to get out. You can probably get out to go to a pharmacy, I'm assuming. And this is where this whole thing falls apart, because I've never understood, like, you can still get COVID at any time of day.
Yeah, it doesn't go
right?
to sleep.
Gatherings
Right.
happen. It doesn't know what time of day it is. It just passes
It's
itself
supposed
around.
to
So
stop
this makes
people
no
getting
sense.
together.
I mean, sure, but we already have, like guidelines in place, and these I don't know, if they're police officers, bylaw officers can come by and break up those parties at any time of day. So why, this doesn't apply to me in any regard. I still see how it's problematic for marginalized people. They're going to have to make excuses. They're going to have confrontations with police.
Right.
And not
And
to mention
people who
homeless
work
people.
at
It's
night.
so problematic.
Yeah,
Yes.
and people who work at night, they'll be targeted. And like you, Cynthia, this doesn't affect me at all. Like if you don't have to go out after 8, like I'm certainly not going out, and I don't get it because the set time. Even if it did curtail people going out, we're in lockdown right now. People aren't going to
Right.
restaurants or bars. I don't understand.
Yeah.
My brain went to, because I'm still a teenager. My brain went to teens hanging out at the park,
But they're
and
not allowed.
whatever you do. Pardon me.
But they're not really
Has that-
allowed to do that right now.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. You are kind of allowed to go to the park and congregate outside.
That's
What
where
is it, five people or 6
No.
people? Yeah. So back in my teen days, I would have hit up the park with my friends and done some illegals.